1918, the First World War is finally over. As punishment for losing, Germany's two wartime allies, the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman Empires, carved up shortly after.
Anyway, this is my alternate history of World War II. Now, there's two things I needed to add. Netherlands joined the Central Powers, same thing with Spain, and Denmark. Now, let's actually start the war. Of course, Austria-Hungary is the first to declare the war, and these two didn't declare war until late game. But whatever, we're just gonna pretend all of them declared that war at the same time. Because one, I'm too lazy, and two, because I just want to. So it's easier for me. With Austria-Hungary, he invades Macedonia and soon northern Albania. Bulgaria and a few Ottoman forces is clash with the remaining of Serbia, which was divided to like this. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, Italy makes a very small push. Spain also makes a small push before getting completely beaten up by Portugal and France, collapsing within a month. And did the small push, let's just say they quickly got repelled, and Austria had to come like Italy's baby, even though Austria-Hungary were doing the suit to Germany. Anyway, Germany, of course, invades Belgium and Luxembourg. And breaks through the French border. The Netherlands also invade the rest of Belgium. Also, we're gonna draw the Entente borders for annexed land. Russia and Romania quickly get beaten up and is forced to give Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, this land. The remainder of Romania is forced to leave the war. Also, Russia makes a small push inside of modern-day Kaliningrad and is invading Austria-Hungary and, of course, the Ottoman Empire. The Greece slowly but very slowly, due to remember everybody's fighting fronts simultaneously, we push. Now everybody here will be in a stalemate, everybody here will be in a stalemate, and everybody here will have rapid expansion and win. So anyway, the Germans repel the Russian attack. Russia soon surrenders to Germany and Austria. Having, of course, the Russian Civil War, but we're just pretend they left the war. Now, Austria-Hungary, he takes this as a puppet. Germany takes Belarus as their puppet, the Baltic countries as their own puppet, and the Kingdom of Poland as their own puppet. Now, this looks like the Central Powers will win, but no, the Entente will win, and we'll get the Treaty of Versailles, which will lead me into my world history of World War II. Oh no, I accidentally did my World War II map, didn't I? Anyway, the U.S. declares war on Germany. Italy surrenders to France due to so much famine and malnutrition. The Ottomans surrender mostly because the Ottomans and Greece and Macedonia surrendered to the Central Powers. Now the Central Powers won't be making pushes and more retreats, mostly because their staff are now suddenly overconfident, and now as soon as they started to get pushed back, they became underconfident. Austria-Hungary was the second to surrender, and soon the rest of Europe laid down their arms. That's World War One. This video will explain what will happen.
The pressures of defeat plunged Germany into chaos, and as a result, the Kaiser abdicated. Revolution and counter-revolution were the order of the day, and in the small town of Weimar, Berlin was too dangerous, the Weimar Republic was declared. The next year, the Allies signed the Treaty of Versailles, which dictated the terms of Allied victory. This territory was lost, and the Rhineland was occupied by the Allies. Germany further had to reduce its military massively, pay war reparations, and also had to accept almost full responsibility for the war's outbreak. So this new Weimar Republic was one of the most democratic nations in the world at that point. Suffrage was granted to everyone over the age of 20, including women. The German people could vote on two aspects of the national government. Every 7 years they voted on a president who presided over the German parliament, the Reichstag. Every 4 years people would vote for political parties in national elections for the Reichstag via a system known as proportional representation, whereby the percentage of votes nationally dictated the percentage of seats in the Reichstag. The president could call elections whenever he felt and also had the important job of appointing the chancellor who ran the government and could propose laws. These laws had to be passed by a majority vote in the Reichstag.
That guy looks like Hitler.
No party ever got 50% of the seats. That meant that the parties would have to cooperate. No, democracy did not guarantee harmony, and there was numerous attempts at revolution, such as the quickly aborted Socialist Republic of Bavaria and the 1920 revolution led by Dr. Wolfgang Kapp. Kapp seized Berlin, and the German army refused to attack it because there was a strong belief that Germany had only lost the war due to political betrayal. Kapp's revolution was only ended by a general strike which ground the country to a halt. This turmoil did not help the German economy, and eventually Germany missed a war payment. The French wished to punish the Germans for this, whereas the British wanted leniency. The French government decided that if the Germans would not pay them, then they'd simply take the money instead, and in 1923 the French occupied the heavily industrialized region of the Ruhr. The reason for this was that German reparations could be paid in raw materials, many of which were produced there. Another way that German reparations could be paid was in foreign currencies, which were paid for by printing more paper marks. This created the hyperinflation that the Weimar Republic is famous for. For example, in January 1923, a loaf of bread cost 163 marks, and in early November in 1923, the same loaf of bread cost over 75 billion marks. In November 1923, another attempted revolution occurred in Munich, led by a certain Adolf Hitler and undertaken by the SA, the military arm of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, better known as the Nazi Party. This revolution failed when other nationalist politicians refused to help Hitler and the army was called in. Hitler was wounded and arrested shortly after. It was in prison that Hitler dictated his autobiography, Mein Kampf, which became the bedrock of Nazi ideology. All of this would make it seem like the Weimar Republic was about to immediately collapse, but it managed to survive thanks to the intervention of two specific individuals. Gustav Stresemann, who helped to repair relations with France, and Charles Dawes, an American who would later become vice president, who helped to relieve some of Germany's economic problems. Germany's repayments were lowered, the French agreed to leave the Ruhr, and America agreed to loan Germany money, which created a strong economic link between the two countries. So then the Great Depression struck, tanking the US economy and dragging Germany's down with it. Paul von Hindenburg, the president of Germany at the time, failed
Oh my god, that's terrible.
to get the Reichstag to agree on a response, or anything. As a result, he had to invoke Article 48, which allowed the president to pass laws without the approval of the Reichstag in times of emergency. The biggest problem with Article 48 was that there was no definition of an emergency, meaning it was open to abuse. The German people turned to different political parties to fix the problem. Some chose communism, whereas others placed their faith in the National Socialists. The Nazis believed that the German-speaking peoples should be united in a single state. They argued that communists and the Jews were the enemies of the German people and as such had to be removed. The Nazis were popular because they wished to disregard the Treaty of Versailles, which many Germans considered insulting. They also wished to limit any foreign involvement in German affairs by limiting the rights and numbers of foreigners in Germany. Another reason was people's anger with the continuing economic crises which they were desperate to end. A series of elections led to a massive increase in the number of seats held by the Nazis, and by 1932 they were the largest party by far. After continuously coming first, Hitler asked President Hindenburg to become Chancellor, which he refused several times because they were worried that Hitler would overthrow the government. Yet eventually, after the Nazis' continuous victories in elections, Hindenburg agreed to give him the job in January 1933. So Hitler immediately began working to overthrow the government. A fire started in the Reichstag by a young Dutch communist was used by Hitler to paint all communists as the enemies of Germany. Hindenburg, under pressure from Hitler, issued the Reichstag fire decree, and the Reichstag passed the Enabling Act, which suspended many civil liberties and made Hitler the de facto dictator of Germany. These were passed mainly because the opposing communist parties were outlawed and that the vote was being held in a building filled with armed members of the SA. Over the next few months, Hitler established the secret police, the Gestapo, in order to help shore up his position. He outlawed trade unions as they were seen as breeding grounds for communists, and in July he abolished all other political parties. In 1934, Hitler ordered the SS, another paramilitary group, and the Gestapo to eliminate his enemies, which included the head of the SA, Ernst Röhm, in an event known as the Night of the Long Knives. This was mainly because Hitler felt that the SA was the only force that could stop him. Shortly after this purge, President Hindenburg died, and Hitler assumed the role of president as well as that of the Chancellor. He declared himself the Führer of Germany and, using Article 48, create a single-party dictatorship. The lives of Germans changed massively under the new Nazi regime. The media was brought under the control of Joseph Goebbels, the Minister for Propaganda. Heinrich Himmler was placed in command of the Gestapo and the SS, who were ordered to crack down on anyone who disagreed with the Nazi government. Germans, for the most part, accepted having less freedom in return for a higher standard of living, and because the Nazis had ended the chaos from the decade before they took power. The Nazi government established the German Labour Front, which was like a trade union except without the representation. The Nazis also established the Strength Through Joy program, which was designed to keep workers happy. It even helped to reduce class barriers by making vacations, clubs, cinemas, and other recreational activities open to people outside of the upper classes. Its most popular creation was the People's Car, better known as the Volkswagen, which further bridged the class divide since it could be paid for in installments. In 1936, Hermann Göring was put in charge of the economy, beginning the 4-year plan, which was supposed to make Germany entirely self-sufficient within 4 years. Unemployment virtually disappeared, conscription was instated, and major public works were undertaken, most famously the Autobahn and the Berlin Olympic Games. The most important part of the 4-year plan was that it saw the beginning of German rearmament, which was a violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler's plan to unify the German people picked up towards the end of the 30s. In 1938, after some double dealing, threats, and a referendum, German troops marched into Austria and Hitler announced its annexation. After negotiations with the British and the French, it was agreed that Germany would annex the ethnically German Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia